Save soil. Today's video is inspired by Sadhguru. And if you don't know who Sadhguru is, check him out online. He is a guru, I guess you could say. He doesn't like the 4-letter word that it's turned into. He says that's why his is an 8-letter word, Sadhguru. But he is in the midst of a 30,000 kilometer bike ride, or motorbike ride, I should say, across Europe into India, and his whole emphasis is on saving soil. Now, I knew that we had a problem with our soil from years and years ago. I actually listened to another Indian who talked about how we're farming wrong, how it's destroying the soil, and it's a problem for farmers because they're not able to yield as much crops because of the way that the farming systems are. And we have this huge problem with people, or with farmers, committing suicide because they're not able to make the type of money that they need to support their family. And what's happening now as years gone on, and I always knew about this problem, but I didn't understand the scope of it. And I didn't understand that we could really do anything about it. I'm sure you've heard of people like Bill Gates buying up farmland. And what's happening now is when people farm, because they're destroying the soil with monocrops and they're not balancing out the soil with livestock and with other animals and things, that the way that nature was meant to, again, have different things come on the soil, because different things actually give it different sorts of elements. It allows certain parts of it to rest, allows it to then cultivate with, poop and things from animals, so that it actually starts to become fertile. And we have the power to actually change the way that we're farming. Now, of course, you're going to say, well, if we eat a certain way, don't we need to have this massive amount of monocrop farming and things? Well, Sadhguru talks about how there's a way to do what we do today, but make it sustainable. And so I always thought that we would have to change as a culture to start eating better. And Sadhguru isn't even talking about that. He's saying we can keep everything the way that it is in regard to, people want these certain types of foods, like we farm a lot of corn because people want to use it for high fructose corn syrup and, sweeteners and things like that. It's like, hey, if we're going to use it a certain way, we're going to use it. But the soil is something that we have to respect. And there are ways of doing it. We're just not doing it. What are we doing? We're buying up more farmland. People like Bill Gates are buying the farmland. Why? Because the farmland that we're actually using right now is getting destroyed from these crops, but we're not able to get it back the way that nature would. So normally you'd farm on some land and you'd have different things on different parts of the land. You'd have animals on other parts, and then you'd start to rotate and move those things around. Talk to anybody who does their own farming, and this is what they do, because they don't have unlimited funds to just go buy more farmland. That's why these investors are starting to buy farmland in all these other areas, because they see that they can't yield the same numbers from these crops, not only the same numbers of food themselves, but the nutrients of the food is going down because the soil is not fertile. So it's giving you food, but it's not giving you the same nutrition. And we have all of these health problems, right? Well, that's one of the issues that we're dealing with. So this can solve multiple problems if we do it the right way. But we're chasing profits, and we're not thinking about the long-term effects. We're just going, well, we have all this farmland all over the world. We're just going to buy it up and we're going to do the same thing that we've been doing before. Well, because governments are basically working with these investors and working with these people who aren't really thinking about the farmers, they're not thinking about the quality of the food, they're not thinking about the sustainability of the soil, they're able to just buy up this land and farm the way that they want to, and everyone else is the one who gets or doesn't get the benefit. They actually end up being hurt by this process. So what Sadhguru is doing right now is, number one, He's trying to get people to talk about soil, talk about the importance of soil, get it on people's minds, share things on social media. And he's doing this 30,000 kilometer ride from London all the way through and across. He's doing different stops and having certain events. So if you follow him, you'll see these talks that he's doing as he stops through in different spots. But because he's going to then talk to different governmental bodies at the end of this ride. So I forget what the timeline is. He started on March 20th, March 21st, and he's riding all the way down. I forget how long it's going to take him, but he wants people to be talking about this so that when he does get before these governments, they'll understand that it's important. Like I said before, the reason why we're not doing anything about this, and I've heard from other people, what was her name? Shiva, I forget her full name. It escapes me at the moment, but she was talking about this years and years ago, talking about Bill Gates and talking about farmland being bought up. And again, years ago, but there wasn't any emphasis on how we can change it through these government bodies. And I think one of the reasons why is people just don't care. There's not enough press behind it. Maybe she was silenced because she's kind of a controversial figure herself. But with what's going on with Sadhguru right now, he's trying to get it on the tip of everyone's tongue. So instead of the legislation from these governments just being bought by the billionaires or the large investors, they can see, oh, this is actually important to the people. Because if the people don't stand up, they're going to go with where the money is, right? When the people stand up and they say, hey, this is what's important to us. When the majority of the people, when a small minority of people, like I said before, this has been going on for a while, people understand the problem. But when you have a small minority of people, you can just continue to get away with what you're getting away with. When that number gets larger and when the voices get louder, when people say, hey, this is an actual issue, that's when change starts to get made. So they're going in front of these governments to talk about how they can implement change, not just say, hey, you guys are doing it wrong, but to say, here's our plan to make it better. You can still make your profits, you can still do all of these things, but we're gonna do it in a sustainable way so that the soil itself becomes more fertile and you can still grow the same number of crops. So it's gonna help farmers, but it's gonna help you and me because we're gonna get these minerals and these vitamins and all of these things that we're really eating food for. We often think that we need calories. We're actually looking for micronutrients. That's what our body craves. When you eat food that doesn't have the essentials, your body ends up getting sick. You wonder why we have all of this access to food, but yet we have so much disease in Western world, in wealthy countries, because there's no nutrition in the foods. There's calories, but they're empty calories. We talk about that, right? Empty calories, calories that are just taste good, but they don't have any nutrition. They don't have any vitamins and minerals in them. So when you change the soil, you change the content of the food and the people benefit. That's why you can look and see over the past several decades, the quality of the food, the amount of nutrients in the food has been dropping. And Sadhguru said it's like 90% less. We're at like 10%, and soon it's going to be basically down to nothing. And he even says soon we're not going to be able to farm, and we're going to have food shortages all over the world if we continue to farm this way. Now, I don't know how accurate that is, but that's like a little fire under your ass to say, hey, we need to start talking about this because it is a big issue. And I think that if we change the soil, you're going to change the health of people. I really believe that that's the difference between generations. Even just like my grandma, I look at my grandma and I see her in her 90s, very vibrant, alive, able to do all of these different things. And she was brought up with these natural foods. I look at my mom and my dad, and then I look at myself and I look at our generations now, and I see the difference, and I'm going, you know, we didn't eat terrible, but the quality of the food has to have gone down because we're just not able to get the same nutrition out of things. And you're seeing all of these different sorts of diseases. You're seeing all these different sorts of issues. You're seeing, I mean, the litany of things that we could stem from nutrition itself is wild. And the basic underlying factor of all of this is the soil. And a common ground that Sadhguru talks about, which I think is beautiful, is we come from the soil, we live by the soil, we have to eat, and we're all going to end up in the soil one day or the other. So it's a commonality between all of us. All of us have to eat. All of us are going to die one day, and we're all going to end up in the soil. So the soil connects all of us. And that's my, call for you. Check out Sadhguru. Look up savesoil.org and see what he's trying to accomplish. But I just wanted to post a video out there and get some more energy toward the movement of saving soil, because we need it, and it's going to benefit everyone on the planet, not just farmers and not just people who are involved in the farming industry. We got to eat, and so we're going to benefit from a better soil. Save soil. Thank you, Sadhguru, and I'll see you guys on the next one.